Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peterisms, where I tell stories of my life and just little things that I've learned as I've grown into the person that I am today. And I'm like looking right out at my woods behind my house, and there is like this cardinal. If you know the story about the cardinal, it is like landed right in the tree right out front, and it's like distracting me because it's literally right out front, and it's like this big cardinal. Before my mom passed away, we kind of like came up with some signs that if she came back to visit me, that would be, you know, that I would know that she was here. And it keeps on flying, and now it's flying over here. And one of those signs was that she would come back. It's literally, you guys, it's like flying right and like back and forth while I'm filming this video. She would come back in this sign of a cardinal, which my dad later thought was really funny because I told him, I said, yeah, Mom and I have this sign. He was like, well, what was your sign? And I said that she would come back in the form of a cardinal. This was just one of them. We had a couple of them. And he goes, well, chances are you'll probably be seeing her a lot because that's this Indiana state bird, which I was like, oh yeah, that's probably true. But every time I see a cardinal, I still think of that. So anyway, how are you guys doing today? You stay healthy? You staying healthy? You staying sane? You staying inside and social distancing from everybody? And I think it's, you know, really good every day to start our days and try to like have some moments of peace and serenity. And for me, like right now, I've been like, you know, of course, doing my prayers and meditations and stuff, but I've also like been really listening to my audiobook before I kind of like get started with my day. And it's really helped me kind of balance myself and just, you know, like pull it all in and kind of listen to my audiobook for a little bit and have my coffee. I'm actually drinking some water right now. My coffee is in the kitchen. But it's been a good way for me to kind of like distract my mind from like everything that's, you know, going on in the world. And then I kind of go on about my day. So, I hope you guys are, you know, staying healthy and staying, safe and everything out there. So today I thought we would start with the Daily Book of Positive Quotations by Linda Picone, just to give us something positive to talk about. And then I thought we would go into the Don't Sweat the Small Stuff and It's All Small Stuff book. I haven't read from this in, I think, like a week, so I thought we would go in here and maybe just like pick some, you know, oh my God, there was one that said practice random acts of kindness, but I feel like we've read that one already. We could just go in here and, well, I could go in here and pick one or two and read it and see what it says to us. So let's start with the Daily Book of Positive Quotations. It is April 8th. Can you believe that next Sunday is Easter Sunday? It's crazy, isn't it? April 5th. Tact. Tact is the knack of making a point without making an enemy. Sir Isaac Newton. When we're right, and we want everyone to know it. Funny how others roll their eyes and cough a little behind their hands when we tell them just what we think. Discouraging how they don't agree with us right away. There's no problem with having strong opinions. It shows that we care about things. But if we wield our opinions like clubs, we will never convince anyone that our opinions are right. When I'm in a conversation with others, I can tell them clearly what I think without being pushy about it. I think it's such a fantastic meditation or just even reading or thought for the day. I think especially right now when it comes to social media, you know, like I feel like every time I get on Twitter or especially Facebook right now, I don't know what it is about Facebook. But, you know, Facebook for me right now, and I have, like, if you watch my other videos, you know, I kind of make a joke of it and say that Facebook's of the devil. But, you know, I have recently been getting on Facebook a lot because I'm not seeing people that I usually see. And so it's kind of my way to see people. And I feel like everybody, like, you know, at first it was a lot of like, you know, questions and concerns and confusion. And then over the period of like a week and a half, it changed and a lot of people were doing like gratitude lists. And I still see a lot of people that are doing it. But, you know, I have a lot of friends of mine that have very, very strong political opinions and very on both sides of, you know, both camps. And I have friends of mine that are just very opinionated in general, you know, about things and always think that they're right. And the thing is that when I read those posts, it comes across very much like whoever is reading this agrees with me, and that's not always the case. You know, a conversation or a discussion that you have with somebody is a two-sided conversation. It's like, well, this is how I feel, well, how do you feel about that? And being open to hearing what somebody else has to say. And also being open-minded to maybe be convinced otherwise. And I think that's something that we don't often talk about when it comes to having discussions or having conversations. We should probably never go into, and when I was younger and I would have debates and conversations with my friends, it was very much like, I know what's right, I know what's right, I know the truth, blah, 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 whatever, right? I think we grow out of that as we get older. Some of us do. Some of us, it becomes worse. And I think the thing is that whenever I enter a discussion with somebody today, I try to go into it with like an open mind, you know? I try to go into it and think, well, maybe they will convince me otherwise, or maybe they'll shift my position on one thing, you know, that we're going to talk about. And so I try to be open-minded to what people have to say. I think that often, you know, and this is what this is talking about, when we're trying to get our point across, or when we're trying to share our opinion about something, it isn't necessarily what we're saying, it's how we're saying it. I remember, you know, when my mom was still alive, and she blamed it on meetings. She'd be like, oh, you cuss like all those old guys at meetings. And I think that had a lot to do with it. But, you know, she'd say, Peter, because she was like always very concerned about the fact that I cussed a lot, that I swore a lot. And, there were several words. Well, since I talked about my mom's spirituality on here, she was like, I hate when you say JC and GD. Please don't ever say those words around me. Now, my mom was, she was good for an F or an S every once in a while, but she would save it, you know, like, so when she said it, it was like kind of funny because you could tell like, you know, it was in jest. But my mom was somebody that didn't really swear. She didn't really cuss a lot. She actually felt like it was beneath her to cuss, and she would say, you know, like, I'm educated, I don't want to speak that way. And then she explained it to me this one time, and she would say to me, when you cuss a lot, or when you speak aggressively, which I have had that issue in the past a lot, and that's something I've really, really worked on the last 1.5 to 2 years, people stop hearing what you're saying, and they hear how you're saying it. So you're never going to be listened to. No one's going to ever listen to you. They'll hear you, and they'll hear your tone, and they'll hear the language that you're using, but they'll never listen to what you have to say. And if you want somebody to really listen to you, then you should probably think about the language that you're using, and you should probably think about that. And, you know, I've thought a lot about that in the last 2 years when, you know, I've had to take a look at the language that I've used in my past and think about, like, who was I, and who am I today, and who do I want to be going forward, you know? And I think it's a really valuable lesson and a thing to think about, you know, in that when we speak to others, how are we speaking to them? You know, even if it's just an opinion on Facebook, you know, do you want somebody to really listen to you? What is your point in posting this? Do you just want to tell on somebody? Do you just want to say, I know I'm right? You know, and I think the other thing that comes into it too is, you know, my whole like recovery saying that people have told me for 25 years, every sponsor I've ever had has said this to me. Would you rather be happy or would you rather be right? Like, how important is it to you to be right? Even if you know you're right, okay? There's been some times in my life where it was important for me to be right, and I'm not talking about real serious stuff. I'm talking about superficial stuff that we're talking about on social media, and I realize that what we're going through right now is very, very serious. I'm talking about the need for me to be right in that moment on Facebook. Okay, do you know what I mean? Like, who am I going to change? You know, who am I going to convince? You know, it's like I've been saying to my husband a lot that there's like a lot of people like will be like, you know, seeing people post pictures and stuff, and I'm like, I cannot believe that people are not social distancing, and he's like, you have no control over that, you know? And it's like, I'd rather be happy. I can just take care of my small world around me. That's the best that I can do. And, you know, so, but I think it's really important while we're going through this. I think the way that we speak to people, you know, so the other day, what was it, Friday, we went to Costco. And I was talking to my sponsor about that today because she's like, needs to go to the grocery store. And she was like asking me like how it was and whatever. And I had said to her, because I had gone to Meijer first because we needed to get everything that we needed to get for a month. And I said, you know, it was really interesting because like at Meijer, people were not very friendly. Like people were not very nice. They were rude, you know, and people weren't social distancing and things like that. And if you asked somebody to move or whatever, like you got kind of like some backlash for it. But at Costco, it was a completely different story. And everybody was, I would say at Costco, like very mutually respectful of each other. And it flowed easier. It went quicker. It was more professional. I felt safer in that environment. And I thought, you know, it's completely just like, I was thinking about this, talking to her, you know, that it's very much in how we respond to each other. And I said, you know, at Costco, everybody was like kind of smiling at each other. And like, you know, hey, we're all in this together, and standing 6 feet apart with the pylons and whatever. And then go to Meijer, and it's complete, like, now I think at Meijer, they have decided as of today that they're, like, going to only limit so many people in, and they're trying to do that, too. But it's, like, I don't know, it was completely different. I felt, like, when I left Meijer, like, I was freaked out. Like, I could start crying almost. And then at Costco, I felt a lot safer, you know, and it was just, people were smiling at each other, and people were respectful, and they were friendly. Well, if you take it out of the context of that, and you think about how we talk to each other on a daily basis, you know, like, how are you talking to somebody? How are you talking to your friends and your family, especially right right now, you know, when tension's high and, you know, we're all like kind of like up and down all over the place. You know, it's like we have to be very, very careful how we're talking to one another, you know, in the language that we're using. And I also think that we have to, you know, dip into our toolbox sometimes. And if we, you know, like, listen, you know, like if you're a married couple and you're like right on top of each other right now, not literally, but you know what I mean? And you know what I'm talking about. It's like there's going to be, you know, throughout the time that we're at home together, especially if you've got a lot of kids and stuff like that, I would think, you know, there's going to be disagreements that occur. We have to dip into our toolbox, make amends, apologize for it, say, hey, listen, I don't want to talk to you that way. It's just not worth it. Like, we're in this together, you know, we're teammates and all that. So I think it's important to do that, you know? All right, let's go into the don't sweat the small stuff. That was actually a really good meditation. Like, I think I needed to hear that today. And I also need to realize that when I'm reading through that stuff, because sometimes, like, I'll read through it on Facebook and I'll just be like, I am so ready to delete you as a friend. Like, I am just so tired of reading your toxicity on a daily basis because you have such a negative attitude towards the world, which is so crazy. Because at one point in my life, I was that person. I was that toxic, negative person, right? And now it's like, do you know, like when people quit smoking and then they don't ever want to be around smokers? You know, it's kind of like that. It's like, and not that I don't have moments of toxicity, because trust me, I do. I think we all do. But you know, when it's just constant, it's like, oh my God, enough already. You know what I mean? So, and then I have friends of mine over there that are just every day posting gratitude lists and whatever, you know, like my counselor that I had when I got sober, my last counselor in treatment, who is still a friend of mine today, like every day she's posting gratitude lists. And like, this is just, you know, like this is pretty amazing. So, you know, you're going to see what you want to see. If you want to see negative, you're going to see negative. If you want to see positive, you're going to see positive. I see a lot of negative. I don't know why that is on the Facebook thread, but anyway. All right, let's go in here. And I was going to do like okay. Be happy where you are. Oh, this might be a good one. Let me check mark this. Number 69, family friendly. Be happy where you are. Sadly, many of us continually postpone our happiness indefinitely. It's not that we consciously set out to do so, but that we keep convincing ourselves, someday I'll be happy. We tell ourselves we'll be happy when our bills are paid, when we get out of school, get our first job, a promotion. We convince ourselves that life will be better after we get married, have a baby, then another. Then we are frustrated that the kids aren't old enough. Then we are frustrated that the kids aren't old enough. We'll be more content when they are. After that, we're frustrated that we have teenagers to deal with. We will certainly be happy when they are out of that stage. We tell ourselves that our life will be complete when our spouse gets his or her act together, when we get a nicer car, are able to go on a nice vacation, when we retire, and on and on and on. Meanwhile, life keeps moving forward. The truth is, there's no better time to be happy than right now. If not now, when? Your life will always be filled with challenges. It's best to admit this to yourself and decide to be happy anyway. One of my favorite quotes comes from Alfred de Sousa. He said, "For a long time, it had seemed to me that life was about to begin, real life. But there was always some obstacle in the way, something to be got through first, some unfinished business, time still to be served, a debt to be paid. Then life would begin. At last, it dawned on me that these obstacles were my life." This perspective has helped me to see that there is no way to happiness, no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. I really, really like that. And I think it's so true of all of us. We always think like, if I have this, if I have that, whatever, instead of just, you know, for me practicing that prayer that I have that helped me to want what I already have, help me to be happy in what I have today and in my life today, you know. And it's so funny hearing about the kids saying, because, you know, obviously I don't have any children, Alex and I have chosen not to, but it's interesting in there, you know, like, friends of mine, like they'll, you know, when they first have a child that they wanted so bad, you know, and then they were like, oh my God, I'm up all night long, I don't ever get any sleep, and I'm so tired all the time. And then, you know, it's like they're in elementary school and they're like, oh, we've got, you know, soccer with Sally on Saturdays and, you know, baseball with Johnny on Sundays, and we're just tired all the time, whatever. And you know, the middle school is like homework, and then it's this, and then it's high school, and then it's like all kinds of problems. And before you know it, they're leaving for college. It's like a Kenny Chesney song. Really, it is, you know. What's that song? Don't Blink, I think, or something. And then they're leaving, and then they're like, I'm so sad. It just went by so quick. I'm like, I know. Like, our parents said that to us. Like, my mom used to say, I remember when you know, it was Easter, and you were 4 years old, and I have the picture, I think over there somewhere, of me like looking out the front door and like the Easter Bunny had come, you know? And she's like, she would always say, it seems to me like it was just yesterday, you know, and you were, you know, 4 or 5 years old and a pair of little penny loafers and, you know, little khakis and a button down shirt and tie going to church on Sunday. She was like, you know, I don't know what happened. And now it's 30 years later. And I think that's true of all of us. You know, sometimes like life passes us by and we don't even realize it. I don't know, maybe to some degree, while we're at home, it's slowing things down a little bit. The days seem longer. And I've gotten to a point where I'm kind of enjoying being at home, you know, and being with Alex and the dogs every day. And life goes on. Like, I'm still making videos every day. And, you know, we, you know, try to watch something together in the evenings and whatever. But life goes on and you have to enjoy it now. You know, life is, you know, not promised to us forever. And I think that more than anything has been proven to me in my life that, you know, life is short, life is fragile. We never know when our last day is going to come. So we have to live each day as if it could be. And I don't necessarily think that means like doing these huge broad gestures of living, right? It can just be like asking yourself, are you like happy today? Like, what did you do? Like, did you start a garden? Did you read a book? Did you sing a song? Did you listen to one of your favorite musical artists? Did you watch a movie that really made you happy? Did you spend some time with people that you love? Did you call them on the phone? You know, right now there's certain things we can't do, but there's a lot that we can. And I think in doing those things that make us the happiest each and every single day. And I think it's something that we have to ask ourselves, what really makes me happy every day? You know, like I started off this whole video talking about reading audio or listening to audiobooks. It makes me, I love it. I love it. You know, it's like one of my favorite things in the entire world. I'm almost done with the book that I'm listening to right now. I'm listening to Camino Island by John Grisham, and I'm like all ready to get into my next book. I'm going to read Educated because my cousin Caroline told me it was like this fantastic. She's like, if you liked Where the Crawdads Sing, you got to read Educated. It's fantastic. So it gives me something to get excited about, you know, and I think it's something to find some fun and some happiness each and every day. Anyway, I love you guys. I hope you're staying safe, sane, and healthy, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.